محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Good evening. You are listening to the Tech Factor, your go-to show for all things tech. I'm your host, Akil Khalil, bringing you the latest in tech news, tips and stories. Joining me today are my awesome co-hosts. First up, we have Joel, the tech wizard, who can fix anything faster than you can say reboot. And next we have Shamshad, and he is quintessentially our expert in everything tech. And last but not least, I'm not going to give this person a technical introduction because he left us last time we were on air. So we have old technology, Fessel Mahmood, in the building. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, thank you. What a week. Looking forward to getting into this topic.
What a week it has been. How are you, Shamshad?
Good to be here, mate.
Yeah, excellent.
Eventful week, mate.
It has been, hasn't it? And last but not least, Fessel, how are you?
Welcome back.
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
You're getting a delayed response now.
Oh,
you
am
call
I?
me old technology.
Is that what's happening? It's not just me, by the way. Did you hear that? He said, welcome back. He had his arms crossed.
I know.
Where you been?
Yeah, where you been? You didn't ask us.
I can't even remember what I was doing last week.
Oh, you know what, guys? It's great to have you all here in the studio. And it's good to have you back as well. I'm just joking. We did miss you. And then we found out that you turned from a USB-C to a USB-A, so that explains everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. So tonight we're going to be talking about what's happened this week, the hottest story in the tech world, and that is the enemy within. What happens when those you trust get it wrong? A cybersecurity scare has rocked the tech world as CrowdStrike, a renowned security firm, admitted an error in its antivirus software update, leading to widespread disruptions. Microsoft stepped in by taking mitigating action to curb the lingering impact of this outage, and it had a tremendous, major outage across many sectors, and we're going to dive into that tonight and understand how it happened, why it happened, and the ramifications for businesses and users alike. We'd love for you to get involved. You can call us on 01733 602 133 or text the show on 07411 191062 or comment on the live streams, Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. Joel, CrowdStrike.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
What a week.
Unbelievable.
So, week today, the world was on fire if you were a CrowdStrike customer, I guess. 8.5 million devices affected worldwide. CrowdStrike did pull the bad update within an hour of them releasing it, but you know the damage was done. Incredible week.
I think it shows you how interdependent computer systems, situations, services are now, where you have. And this isn't something against CrowdStrike. I'm just saying, like, because it is one of the world's largest tech companies, which also acts almost like a server to some of these companies, right? Where it's had, like you said, just one update, you know, for 1 hour, and it wiped out airports, financial systems, insurances and insurance companies and banks, and we had chaos in train stations, and you had stock markets that were down. I mean, literally on Thursday morning, FTSE was displaying data from the day before. The share price for some of the world's biggest companies was out of date, and you could not do anything about it. Shamshad.
Yeah, it's like you said. I was just shocked. I didn't know it was only live for an hour.
Yeah.
So it's insane how much damage it did do in that 1 hour, and I think basically for people that don't know what it was, it is something that it was an update, wasn't it, that was pushed out. That is it was a bit of code that affects the basically the kernel of the your machine. So that is basically you have your applications that run on your computer, then you have your operating system. So it was the coding that affected the operating system itself. That's why when the operating system sees a code that it doesn't like, it doesn't carry on with the command that you give it. It thinks, okay, this is going to break something, and rather than it carrying on and breaking doing irreparable damage, so meaning things like corrupting your data on your system, what it does is it does what it did on Friday. That's basically what happened.
Wow.
And just to clarify, it's a Windows kernel. as
Yes,
well.
sorry, yeah,
So
yeah.
Mac and Linux.
They weren't affected.
They were not affected.
No.
It was because just the Windows machine. So those 8.5 million devices, the thing that they all shared universally, and we're talking across the globe. I'm not talking 8.5 million devices in the UK. I'm talking globally.
Yeah.
Was the fact that they were Windows machines, and that's because the Falcon system that CrowdStrike used was in the kernel, and that's the part that caused the blue screen of death, as we call it, and the sort of the reboot cycles that the machines were going into, and generally just not having a good day.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
so
really unhappy with that code.
Yeah. Also, what shocked me as well, obviously you hear stories as things like this are happening. So obviously in my workplace, we were affected in a way as well, which was dealt with really well. But I heard from people I know of other places how they mitigated this. And one big name, I won't mention the name, but of the company. But what they did was they just turned CrowdStrike off. They just turned it off. Okay. And to carry on working as you were.
Yes, because I guess they were looking at the business impact versus being penetrated from a hacker or someone, I guess. And I think the other thing that it highlights, Fessel, is the importance of having multiple layers of security. No single solution is foolproof.
I think, I was a bit shocked. I'd never heard of CrowdStrike prior
What?
to
Where have
this.
you been?
Well, it's not something I really look into.
No, I just meant literally where have you
there's-
been? Okay.
on the beach. No, I'd never heard of CrowdStrike. I'm aware of all similar types of systems. There's other companies out there that do similar things, as in they've got access to the operating system at that kind of level. So I just started doing a bit of Googling about this, and apparently in April, a similar thing had happened with a certain version of Linux with CrowdStrike. Similar scenario. So it just got me thinking, what kind of testing goes on? Because, I'm involved in IT, in critical systems, and 90% of the time they go through, number of testing phases. It's first tested on development machines, then on pre-production, and so on. I think it goes through 3 steps. And you could say, okay, we need the thing implementing quickly because of such and such a virus on a live system. But, this goes to show that they should have some sort of testing procedure. If it delays the update by 2 hours, then that's what they've got to do rather than doing it straight on live. Or, they did say that there was an issue with the testing process, and they've just got to make it a bit more rigorous. And I think Microsoft will probably end up putting a bit more checks now, especially where they give third parties access to that level of the operating system.
You are right. Look, Microsoft often steps in to provide support in large-scale cybersecurity incidents, demonstrating the interdependence within the tech industry. It's just synonymous, isn't it? You're talking about at the OS level, right? They're always going to be involved at some part of that journey. I think what struck me, I'll be honest with the 3 of you, is that what struck me was how many of their customers would have potentially out-of-dated Windows systems too, and potentially out-of-dated equipment too. So when you get, I guess what I'm saying to you is, when you get that big, and even though you're selling your services and you're doing so on, you can't ultimately control every single one of your customers' machines. I know that they are taking the brunt for what's happened and it was their fault, but we know, working in environments, that all 3 of us know this, right?
Yeah.
That there are many different versions of Windows across many different PCs in small, medium enterprises.
Yeah, there's no system that's infallible.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that is unusual. It's just that it's on an unprecedented scale that we've never seen before.
Yes.
So there has been issues in the past. There's been not just from a cyber attack point of view. So SolarWinds had a chain of trust attack with an update, and that had malware injected into it, and it affected SolarWinds companies at the time. That was a cyber incident. So it's also important to differentiate between something that's happened with malicious intent and something that's happened on accident.
Yes.
So this is something that, as far as we're led to believe, CrowdStrike has not done on purpose.
Yeah, human error or system error.
Yeah, and again, McAfee had a similar issue back in the day as well, where they pushed out a bad update that affected McAfee customers and things like that. Microsoft have done it, and also it also comes down to individual environments. You know, as you're talking about, Akil, it comes down to individual environments where if Windows pushes a .NET framework update and you put it down on your production server and then that balks your software that you've got running on it, they don't know what your software is dependent on a particular version and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
So there's lots of things that, you know, as IT departments need to balance. And I think that you know, I just want to have a shout out to some of the tech teams that are out there that have been dealing with this issue, because, you know, those guys have been on the front line taking the brunt of this. You know, they're going to have C-levels, directors, managers
Screaming at them.
Screaming at them.
What are you doing?
And
Plenty of
ultimately,
going on.
you know, if there's companies out there that are outsourcing IT to other MSPs and things like that, especially if they're perhaps got remote workers, or not just remote workers, but, you know, if they've got shops all over the country that are affected, maybe car dealerships or whatever it might be, sort of thing. You know, there's lots of tech teams out there working through lunch. They came in on that weekend because it was a Friday. Some people had to come back from holidays, you know, to address this issue, to try and get these companies back to a place where they could continue to work. And I think that ultimately, you know, if there's an IT manager out there or IT director out there that's sort of like, we're going to go with CrowdStrike. Yeah, we know they're one of the more expensive ones, but because they're expensive, they're in a circle of trust because they're on so many devices around the world. And then to have that trust let down by that company by releasing a bad update, that leaves those tech people, those IT managers and things, you know, with a bit of egg on their face, because then they're just like, well, we're spending a lot of money on this. You told us these were the guys to trust.
Yeah, we've now lost money. I'll tell you what would be interesting.
Lost money. So again, and have the companies, have the C-level, executive level, the director levels, have they lost a little bit of faith in their IT
without a doubt, Joe. Without a doubt. I think,
you know, it's a tricky
it's also
situation.
It's also what you're saying as well. It's one thing where it's malicious. Yeah, something like an outsider done it. But when it's the company themselves and it's their own, process or whatever they have in place that failed, then you're saying, then that's what you're paying for, isn't you?
True.
For that system and that process to be at the top of their game.
True.
Yeah.
So, and if anyone who's just tuned in just now, you know, we're talking about CrowdStrike, which is one of the world's leading cybersecurity companies, known for its endpoint protection, and they had an error in their antivirus software update recently, which caused significant disruptions globally. And, you know, just want to pick up a couple of things that both of you said there. Look, if I'm a CFO, I'm thinking, how much money did I lose over that window? If you're a really big company, it's going to be in the millions, right?
Oh, yeah.
If I'm a CEO, I'm thinking my customers are relying on me and my company's reputation. That's been tarnished. So there's no way that all these big companies have not written to the CEO of CrowdStrike and bringing up their service agreements and looking for
these are things
compensation.
That will be brought up when the renewal of a contract comes up.
Yeah, without a shadow. No, you're right. He's absolutely spot on. I think, you know, you're right. I agree with both of you. You know, there wasn't any malicious intent as far as we're aware.
Also, you know, you were talking about mitigation.
Yeah.
You know, remember, Microsoft do have something in place. We were talking about this earlier. It's called a WHQL certification.
Yes.
So, you know, when you push something through, as a software company, you're pushing an update through or something, you have your own testing departments and developers and whatever, that they have their own system and their own test system replication of the production side, where they do their tests and make sure that everything's running properly with this update and there's no glitches or anything in it. So they've done their part. Now Microsoft have their own part as well, with their own labs where you can in essence, give them the update and then they will do their testing on it as well. The only problem with that is, like Fessel was mentioning, if something can take, if it's an extra couple of hours, this isn't a couple of hours. You're talking maybe a week, 2 weeks for this to go through. So that's where you have to find your balance. Are you willing to let that vulnerability stay there when you know what it is, that it's a vulnerability?
Yeah.
And or are you going to block it? But by blocking it that quick, you're then opening up yourself to this kind of thing.
To
Wow.
me, it seemed like quite a simple thing. I don't know if I'm thinking too simplistically, but it seemed like it's an update that went wrong. It wasn't anything complicated. If an update goes wrong on a test environment, then it would go wrong on a live environment.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something wrong with that process. I don't think we'll ever know the full story unless they have something like a freedom of information request to these type of organizations.
Let me know what you think. Call us on 01733 602 133 or comment on our live stream, Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitch. We've just learned that our tech guru, Fessel, will be on the blower to CrowdStrike CEO and asking him to tell us exactly what's happened.
Oh, I did ask Joel as well.
Send him an email.
Did you?
This is your field as well, isn't it? Really? Was it?
So
How bad was it?
it was pretty bad. So looking at some.
Where were you on that Friday?
Yeah.
I think that. Hold on a second.
the
Where were
Thursday
you
night.
as well?
No,
Both of you.
The Thursday night. That's
Oh,
when
the
it- when
Thursday
it got- when
night.
it got pushed out.
That's it. Yeah.
From what I understand, how it actually the update was actually released while we were all in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was early hours of the morning UK time, which has actually helped quite a lot of UK companies because their machines haven't actually been on. Yeah, so a couple of people that were directly affected in my department, they're kind of like some of the early starters. Maybe they've had their laptop on a bit earlier than normal. Maybe they've had it on all night or whatever. But we're a tech department, so within a couple of hours, we'd booted into safe mode, sorted out the file that needed to be done, and we were back up and running. So it didn't really hit us that hard, sort of thing. But a couple of stories that have been coming out from other sort of IT admin desks online are that, some of them have got really lucky. So what's happened is it's just completely their domain controller, their DNS server, has downloaded the update and fallen over. So when all of their other machines on their LAN have gone to update, they've asked the DNS server where the update URL is, and it's just gone. Oh, but couldn't because it's gone. I don't know. I'm already dead. So all of their machines actually got saved. So you just had, but then you need to sort of, one of the takeaways here is what are the companies doing about this? I know we talked about what Microsoft could have done about this a little bit more, what CrowdStrike could have done about this a little bit more, but if there's companies out there that do have lots of machines all connected to their network and they all take the update at once and they all fall over at once, there's a level of responsibility there that comes down to a company level. Should the companies be taking these updates blindly and putting them straight onto their users' machines? That's going to, there's a couple of IT departments out there that I'm sure have been asking the same sort of questions this week to say, well, hang on a second, we should probably actually have a few machines in a development environment that do take these automatic updates, ring fence them off the rest of the machines, see if these updates make those machines fall over, and then push those updates out to the rest of our user machines.
So I personally myself work on IBMI, and that's basically how we do it as well. Yeah,
I think that's good practice.
That's what we do. Even on our dev machines, we do not let anything go out into the production system until we've tested it.
Yeah. So these guys that are sitting there with 1,000 downed devices, they've essentially let their entire company take all of these updates all at the same time, all in one big hit, and maybe they should be questioning whether that's a viable solution going forward. So
Yeah, and I think that one of the repercussions as well, just listen to what you're both talking about there, is like it happened during COVID as well, is business resilience. What's your resilience? Everyone's resilience got tested, didn't it? And what we found is key infrastructure globally just didn't have it.
No.
How do you let the stock market just stop? How do you let flights, airports stop working? How do the trains just stop? Why is there not something in place? A failed,
redundancy.
Yeah, why is that not there?
Yeah.
You're on a, let's say you're in Abu Dhabi. Okay, you got to fly back. Your urgent trip. Why is it your fault that that aircraft is grounded? It's not.
No.
Right? Because there's consequences to everything, isn't there? I guess that's what I'm saying. In a digital world, when we have these companies that promise you the earth and they do really good work, let's not forget that. but they're also we're in a world where we're now entirely reliant on this app working. We're entirely relying on this pass that's going to be scanned, or I can't get through this gate. Or similarly, you have a device that you're working on, it says update, you hit update, and all of a sudden you can't do your job. You've lost your client. That was going to get you to your target. Now your job's in jeopardy. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many areas that are affected by this, and I think personally, a key takeaway from me, if I was a business owner, Fessel is, and you would be thinking about, am I going to use CrowdStrike again? But I think more generally, you'll be thinking, do I need just one company here, or do I need two?
And if I do take on one, what is my single point of failure?
Yes.
And that single point of failure is as we've seen, is a
Is
dodgy
that one
update.
company?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think more than anything, I guess, Fessel, just coming to yourself, is what I'm thinking now is, yes, it happened to CrowdStrike. Yes, it was an update. Yes, it didn't work, and so on. But I think, moreover, the bigger lesson here, the broader lesson really here is business resilience, redundancy, accountability, and so on. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have a Windows machine and a Mac, and I use both at the same time.
All right, so
much.
basically, he's all right, isn't he? He's like, oh, Windows is not working today. Off, straight on the Mac.
Yeah, straight on the Mac.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's, I use both of them for two different purposes, but I've got email on both. Should I need it, I can, and Teams and everything. It's running on both machines, but it's not viable in a big organization. I think small companies, for this type of thing, it's much easier. You've got a few machines, even if you've got 20, that's not a huge number. But just imagine you've got hundreds of machines in an airport, and a lot of them, it's not easy to reboot or go into safe mode and so on. You might not even have a keyboard and mouse and stuff attached. So somebody's got to actually create some sort of script or whatever to do all this. And it's just making sure that those type of things are in place. Should something go wrong, we should be able to revert back to the last 24 hours or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, in terms of, I think one of you guys were mentioning about, the way infrastructures, software is rolled out in infrastructure. So most of our clients, they never put software onto a live environment. And we have this experience where our own solutions, they have to go through such a rigorous testing process. And that's why I was baffled. How can an organization allow an update just to happen, immediately on every machine?
I've got a question for you, actually. As a software company owner, what would be what you'd have to tell me exactly, but just a general understanding for us, what level of repercussions would be in place if you had done this to your customers? You just pushed out an update and it just, all the systems went offline. What would you expect
from them?
Yeah, what would you expect your clients to say to you?
I'd be expecting them to ask for some sort of reimbursement. And we do have scenarios where systems go offline. If we can't meet that 99% uptime, we have a system of credits, so they can request credit. And sometimes it does happen. Certain organizations, they do say that we have had 20 hours of downtime in the last year. In fact, we actually tell them most of the time you've had this amount of downtime. So, I mean, it's about monitoring, making sure that the organization themselves have got checks in place that if something does go wrong, they can let us know before a user identifies the issue.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, a service level agreement is what we're talking about here, aren't we? Which is what you're going to be held accountable to. I guess in some ways, are you saying then it goes both ways? If you're doing your due diligence, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but your client isn't doing that. You've said to them, like, you've got machine X, right? It's a Windows 10. Windows have stopped supporting it, and you're not updating it, and then there's that fail-safe. I guess you're okay.
Yeah, that's in the contract. So, if they don't do their own, due diligence or whatever, to either stay updated or making sure the storage doesn't run out of space, simple things like that, or network failures, we're not responsible for those.
They do normally tell you, like, your support will be invalid on this certain system, or they tell you normally like 6 months or 12 months in advance that this version, this specific version will only be, they have a roadmap, don't they, to say, right, this version will only be supported up to this point. From this point onward, there'll be no support for it.
They'll have a sunset period for it as well. But just to speculate here about the potential future that will now unfold, after being we're sort of now a week later, the dust's just starting to settle, businesses seem to be settling back down. I'm sure there's lots of departments out there that are having similar sort of discussions to what we're having about what they can do about it and all that kind of stuff. But I just wonder if there is going to be some sort of class action lawsuit against CrowdStrike.
Wow.
I don't think
wouldn't be
that I'm speculating, it's complete speculation. I don't know if there would be individual actions will be weaker than if someone does class action.
But maybe,
and they get
within
all
the
people
company they might have some individual ones.
I don't know, but then I don't know the terms and conditions of the CrowdStrike contract. Do they have a force majeure clause that covers this kind of thing? So a class action isn't even going to get anywhere. So it'd be very interesting to see if anything happens. I know they've tried to sort of say, here's a £10, what was it, £10 Uber Eats voucher or something.
That's awful.
You are joking.
Awful. No, I saw that today.
News was just breaking just over the last 24 hours. They were trying to compensate with a £10 voucher.
That's insulting.
Or something. Yeah,
especially when like Fessel was saying that, especially when it's a case where I think they admitted this, didn't they? They were saying it was their own. The failure was on their own testing.
Yeah.
That their own testing side didn't recognise the fault when they should have.
Wow.
So they've actually admitted that, haven't they? I think.
That is an incredible thing to admit. That level of ammunition for your client, who's now lost all that money.
With these kinds of things, you can't hide them.
No, I appreciate that.
People can find out. They can see it. What's going on?
Absolutely. We're heading towards a break, unbelievably. So stay tuned. After the break, we'll dive into some cool tech stories which you do not want to miss. Trust me. Shamshad's going to be back in the game.
Craving authentic Desi flavors? Look no further than Desi Restaurant. From midday until 1 in the morning, enjoy our homemade specialties that will transport your taste buds. Indulge in tantalizing papri chaat and savor the rich Chersi Kadahi. Treat your friends to our fresh 1 kilogram Chersi lamb handi. Plus, get 2 12-inch pizzas for $11.95. Located at 298 Lincoln Road, we deliver from lunchtime until 1 a.m. Call 01733 555 795 now to order and experience Desi Restaurant's flavors.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalizing variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favorites from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
At Masters Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Masters Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh queen cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakeinn.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Masterminds Tuition Academy is for your high schoolers, your something to provers, your subject strugglers and keen learners, your brave jumpers and fist pumpers. Affordable personalised learning plans are delivered through our centres in schools across Peterborough. But not to worry, we also provide online and home visits with flexible timings. Whether it is maths, English, science or 11+, Masterminds is a must. Find us on all socials and visit our website mastermindstuitionacademy.com or call us on 07516 166 003. Masterminds, master the matrix.
For the top pizza in Peterborough, visit Tops Pizza, established in 1988 for delicious pizzas with freshly made dough daily. View the extensive and mouthwatering menu online at topspizza.co.uk, then choose from traditional tasty toppings, something different, or create your own with fresh, 100% halal meats, salads, veg, and a great choice of sides too. Call into Tops Pizza, 52 Broadway, PE1 1SB. Call 01733 913 775 or order online for delivery or collection.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio. 106.2 FM.
Welcome back to the Tech Factor. If you've just tuned in, you missed our deep dive into the CrowdStrike Fiasco. But don't worry, you can catch up on all our discussions on our social media channels. Now, to one of my favourite segments, it's the cool tech stories of the week. And the reigning champion, Shamshad, is in the building, who always manages to unearth, deep search, deep mind. He Googles deep mind to find the most amazing stories, and no one manages to beat him. So he's a reigning champion. He's a champion for a reason. If you would like to see proof of that, check out the Tech Factor on YouTube and listen to some of our cool tech stories of the week over the last few months, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He is the legendary Shamshad guru of tech stories. So what we'll do is we'll start with him because he will set the bar and then we'll take it from there. So over to you, Shamshad.
Well, you're not making it easy for me.
No pressure.
Not setting the bar.
No pressure.
Yeah, at all. All right, yeah, so there is quite a cool story. So at the moment, there's a Chinese electric vehicle company, a battery manufacturer, EVE Energy, and it's in advanced talks to invest about £1 billion in building a new Gigafactory near Coventry in the UK.
Okay.
So this facility is set to be the largest of its kind in the country, with an initial production capacity of 20 gigawatt hours, which will eventually expand to 60. So that's a lot of power there.
Is that just enough for your new phone?
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
This investment is part of a broader plan involving the UK Centre of Electrification. It's a joint venture between local councils and Coventry's airports owners.
Okay.
The project is aimed to create 6,000 jobs and significantly boost the regional economy, especially in the automotive sector. So I think what this will also do is hopefully bring down the prices of electric cars in the UK, especially. Because if they're manufactured here, then you've got that, you save on that cost of bringing them in.
True.
Now the investment is contingent on receiving substantial subsidies from the UK government.
Of course.
Potentially drawn from I think it's £4.5 billion aid package designated for key manufacturing industries.
Okay.
Now, despite the positive economic impact of this, there is the other side of it, which is increasing concerns of giving the Chinese that much power over certain parts of the economy.
Yeah. Now, what I will say is, because the UK has been seriously lagging behind gigafactories. Elon Musk chose a European country over the UK when we were in the running. It just didn't happen. Then there was another company, I can't recall its name now. They set up a gigafactory. It did get some subsidies, I think, but it hasn't benefited widely. So I think this is a good thing. However, putting on the cautious hat as well, I have to say I do understand the concerns that people will have, the fact that we have the Chinese government's influence across so many of the tech sectors. Joe will tell you, over the last, I'd say, Joel, where we at, 15, 16 years, we know of a Chinese manufacturer in the CCTV game. When it came to the UK, immediately people were saying, and we know this wasn't true, but there was all this misinformation about how their cameras would then be used by the Chinese government to spy on UK entities, right? So what happened was people wouldn't buy them. Initially, they wouldn't buy them. But I'm telling you now, and Joel will tell you, they are everywhere. right? They're not supposed to be in critical infrastructure. I've seen them in critical infrastructure. I've seen them in banks. Because at the end of the day, what talks?
Money
talks, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, that's a really good story. Yeah. And I think, personally, I'd love to know your opinion as well. I think it's good for the UK that we're going to get a Gigafactory. But the fact that we're subsidising it, I think the UK government should have some element of control within it. If we're putting money into it, that's my personal opinion. What's your thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think there are pros and cons. I think the number of jobs that it could create in the UK is a good thing. I think that some people might be looking at that and thinking, well, hang on a second, we've just made massive inroads into reducing the UK's carbon footprint. Is the introduction of gigafactories now going to sort of undo the work we've done there? But then most of that work involved sort of offshoring a lot of our manufacturing to reduce our UK carbon footprint and things like that. So again, I think there's pros and cons. I think that being out of the EU since Brexit, I think it's a good idea as well to perhaps get involved with other world powers.
Yes, broadening our horizons.
Broadening our horizons,
but at the same time, not giving them dominance over that market. Yeah. I think last year Tata also, the owners of Land Rover Range Rover, they also pledged to build I think it was a £4 billion like a battery manufacturing plant in Somerset, I think it was, as well.
Okay.
Because they have the massive steelworks at Corby, don't they? Yeah. So.
Thanks, Shamshad. Over to you, Joel.
Okay, so my story. So not only was CrowdStrike, which we talked about at the top of the programme, just absolutely mind-blowing, but then another security company comes out with an announcement, and it's a security called KnowBe4. Now, if you don't know who they are essentially a cybersecurity email security company. So what they do is they will run phishing tests with you to your staff members and report on how many people thought they'd won an Amazon voucher, but in actual fact it was a malicious link and all that kind of stuff. They also do email scanning and stuff like that. So what's happened with them is someone using AI enhanced images. So again, a few episodes ago we had the story where a C-level person using that was deep faked tricked a finance person in a UK company to transfer in £26 million. It's happened again, but this time with KnowBe4. So what's happened here is a North Korean spy has essentially used AI-enhanced images and sort of a doctored CV and gone through the recruitment process and been recruited by KnowBe4 into a high-level position. And then once he'd done that, he then attempted to upload malware into that company. Again, I can only speculate, but maybe he was trying to perform some sort of chain of trust attack, like we saw at SolarWinds, or something along those sorts of lines. So it sounds to me, but the things that I've read about it was he did the hard work. He deep faked to someone else. He got the position. He was in position. He'd received all of the induction training and everything like that, and then right at the critical moment where he was going to upload his malware, the KnowBe4 Security Operations Centre had a security flag, and he was discovered.
That's what I was going to ask her. How did they find out?
So essentially, because KnowBe4 are a cybersecurity company that do look for these kind of infiltrators on their customers' networks,
of course.
The amazing thing is they've actually spotted it on their own network and taken the appropriate action and contained it before any data has been compromised or any other kind of chain of trust attack has taken place. But what an incredible story, because again the guy's deep faked his way into a C-level role with this company with the sole purpose of deploying some malware.
That's an insane amount of dedication,
perseverance.
To go through that all the way through. It's like something you see in the movies.
It is, yeah. I mean,
that's exactly what I said. It's funny. I said that when it came out. I was talking to my team, and I was just like, "This is straight out of Hollywood."
But because it's North Korea, obviously that's that military mindset, isn't it? You're getting trained.
Militant, yeah.
Yeah, you're espionage, and it's effectively you're a digital soldier.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's like,
I mean,
Yeah.
that is a sort of like a part of warfare now, isn't it?
If,
Yeah.
and if that's the easiest way now to attack companies
And countries by
countries,
Yeah.
you have the potential to see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that CrowdStrike thing. That's a brilliant example there.
yeah.
If they can push something of their own through your system like that,
It's scary, isn't
yeah.
it?
It is, yeah.
Wow.
A power plant or
Yeah.
like a manufacturing company or your electricity board or national grid, bring down the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. Thank you, Joel. And I have to say, I guess it's probably fair to say they're going to be looking at their recruitment practices, aren't they?
I think we also have a new champion for tech stories.
What's that? Who's that?
Joel's, I think, smashed it with this one.
That's good. That's good.
Let's see.
I'll take you
Let's
into
see.
consideration.
Let's see.
He'll be the final champion.
Okay. What I will say, the other thing as well is about this particular story as well. That it shows you how advanced AI is now,
We talked about
Yeah.
it on the show.
and every single day is getting better.
Only
You
at the
know
start
it.
of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now look where we are.
Yes.
We've had this incident. We've had the 25 million deep fake
Yeah.
incident
Yeah.
as well. And they're just two that have made the headlines.
Yeah.
How much else is going on out there?
Wow.
It's extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
But the thing is, a lot of the attacks on companies, they're very unsophisticated. Just simple emails posing as a CEO of the company, asking,
No, I think
an
this
admin person.
I think
to-
with this one, it was a bit more than that. When it was
Yeah.
video calls,
No,
AI.
No, I'm saying this
thing
is,
deep-
this is sophisticated,
Yeah.
but the ones that get through, most
okay,
of them,
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
very
Yeah,
sophisticated.
yeah.
People fall for the most basic things.
Yeah.
They think an email's come from so-and-so to make a
Yeah,
bank
it's
transfer.
shocking how many people
Yeah.
fall
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, Fessel. It's been a while since we've asked you to share one of your tech stories, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is different, something different from me. So this is something I thought this is, it's amazing. So someone who, a man who ate toast for 5 years, he inspired the creation of this high-tech spoon which enhances flavours for
What?
people suffering dementia. So people who suffer dementia, so when over time, whatever they eat, it just becomes nothing. Like there's no flavour to it, nothing. So this is something I thought, wow, this is could be life-changing for
That's amazing.
a lot of people. Because ultimately, if they're not having the right nutrition, then they're having other issues, losing weight and so on. So I mean, it's early stages, but this will hopefully bring the enjoyment of food for a lot of people do suffer dementia. So
It's an amazing
I thought-
story.
I thought that's amazing.
I think I'm going to get some. So when I have guests around for dinner, they think my food tastes
Food
better
tastes
than it actually
better.
does.
That's not a bad chat, is it? Yeah, but I wasn't aware there's nearly 1 million sufferers of dementia in the UK.
I'm actually not surprised about that. It's
No.
become very common
And
now.
something like that can help, and that's really good.
And it also goes to show you there are so many brilliant people out there looking at humanity and wanting to do something that's going to be positive.
I still don't know. What is it the spoon does? It tells you what you're eating, or
No, it sends some sort of electrical signal through the mouth into the person's brain. So whilst they're eating it, just enhances the flavour.
Wow.
Yeah. So as your lips and tongue touch the spoon. Yeah. That's why I thought it was amazing.
That is amazing. You currently have the lead.
That is insane.
You
yeah.
currently have the lead.
Yeah.
So you take 4 weeks off from the show. You turn up after CrowdStrike happens, and North Korea does their thing in that emailing company, and you've got a good story. Well done.
Yeah, the last time I heard something similar to this was, I think, probably 7 years ago. Someone at Microsoft had created a wrist. It's like a wristwatch, but it helps sufferers of is it Alzheimer's when they're shaking?
Okay, yeah. Oh, Parkinson's.
Parkinson's, sorry.
Yeah.
So it actually stops them from shaking. There's some sort of mechanism inside there, and it helps them
Amazing.
to do simple things like eating food.
I love this type of tech, Joel. I really do. You know, this life enhancing type of tech. It really, there's something about it. It just, even though it's technology, it rehumanizes that person who's going to wear it. Because you stop thinking of them as, oh, so and so's got Parkinson's, because you know how our brains work visually. They don't work beyond what we can see until you know someone's got a disability. And then if they stop shaking, you're like, all right, Joel, how you doing, Joe? You're right, yeah. And then you don't think about the fact that the person's got Parkinson.
Yeah.
I love that. Really well done. Shamshad,
Back to me.
back to you.
Yeah. So I got another cool one as well. Apple recently brought out something called the what was it? The Vision Pro. They called it. didn't
Apple
they?
Vision Pro, yeah.
Apple Vision Pro, which was what, £500,000 or something.
No,
isn't
it's
it?
actually £3,499.
Yeah, that's
Typical Apple hater.
Yeah.
But even, by the way, can I just say, even if it was £500,000, he's got 3.
No.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, so that proves you wrong.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So imagine that, and if imagine one of them and one of these laptops had a baby, and we have something called the Spacetop AR.
That's pretty cool.
Right. Okay. So what happens? Basically, it's a laptop, but it's not a laptop. You don't have a screen.
Right.
So you open it up, and when you open it up, it opens up, and you have like a set of augmented reality glasses.
Okay.
All right. So this is they're like a high end glasses. Real Tech, I think they call it. It's another company. But basically, essentially, what it does is you put them on. So you've got your keyboard, but now you've got in the augmented reality screen, and these are spatial. It is a spatial operating system, like what Apple was taught.
Yeah, Vision OS.
Yeah. So basically, you can make the screen static. So, but what you end up getting is a 100-inch screen, and it's mobile. And it doesn't cost an arm and leg. It still isn't cheap. It's $1,900 or pounds equivalent. But mate, that's really cool. I've seen like the practical of it, like, and you could just sit anywhere. And it also gives you so if you're say you're sitting somewhere in public, you could be sitting there tapping away and doing whatever you're doing. Hacking into CrowdStrike or whatever. No one would know better.
Yeah,
they'll sit next to you.
But the thing is, what I liked about it as well is that it wasn't a mask. It wasn't a heavy.
Oh, no.
It was just like a pair of sunglasses.
Yeah.
With a cable on that went to a normal laptop keyboard.
Does
and
that
gave
mean
you augmented reality screens anyway, just that only you can see? So
Yeah.
Does that mean that the laptop side of things is where the computing power is?
Yeah.
Because obviously
Yeah,
with Apple
basically.
Vision Pro, it's on the headset.
So imagine your laptops that we've got all in front of us here.
Yeah.
You just have the keyboard part of it, and then literally no screen, and it's just like a pair of sunglasses that you wear. So it's not a larger headset. It's just a sunglasses.
I think it's quite a clever way of doing it. So considering the way Apple done it was, you just have this lump in your pocket. You know, that big chunk. Whereas this, it makes it's the keyboard and the computer, like you said, itself as well. I don't know. Seems very intuitive to me.
Yeah,
it
looks really
and
good.
the way you use it, it's just like it wouldn't be any different to you using a laptop. Instead of it, you just got it on your
it wouldn't be any
face.
different to sitting there with just a pair of normal glasses on, as
Yeah.
opposed to a screen. So
They look very similar to like the size-wise, the Meta glasses, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Okay.
So I've got the Meta VR headsets at home.
Yeah.
And I've tried their version of augmented reality screens
Okay.
and Office and stuff like that, and it's kind of cool and it does work, but you still feel like you've got your head in a vice with it.
Okay, yeah.
You've still got this big heavy thing on your face. You've got the strap across the top, strap around the back. So with that product, when I looked at it, was the big appeal for me would be the fact that it's just a pair of just a pair of glasses that gives you that immersive augmented screen and stuff, and that would be the big selling point for me. Over and above the other
remember
solutions.
we tried the Ray-Ban ones?
Yeah.
At the airport. They're about that size.
Yeah.
Wow, that's it. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Were
Very
the
impressive.
Ray-Bans augmented reality, or was it just the
No,
Facebook
it wasn't
Live
so
thing?
much. No, because we tried them. I didn't see no screen on there or anything.
No.
It had cameras on it, and I think it has a speaker on it as well. for
Yeah,
music.
I know someone who's got one of them.
Yeah,
They're
so
mainly
it's-
just for doing a Facebook Live.
That's what the
yeah.
one good thing about them was, what I really liked was the video. Remember, you make a video and it's like just like what you're seeing basically.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
quite good. But this is awesome, man.
Really good.
This mate, that's tempting at that price. point.
I'd get that, because then that would make my
To add to
working
your
from-
Vision Pro collection.
No, Vision Pro is too bulky, like Joe was saying. But this,
You wear it every day.
working on the space from home, this will completely enhance.
What's it called again?
Yeah.
It's called the Spacetop AR.
Spacetop, yeah.
Spacetop AR laptop.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, thank you for that.
They're not out yet. You have to. They're still. They're coming out
pre-order,
soon. Yeah.
they're on reserve, aren't they?
Yeah.
Joe, beat that.
Well, I love that. That product looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely see that product going into the future. But speaking of the future, is Google dead? Is the way that we use search a thing of the past? Is the question that's now being asked, as my friend Chad is. And his product.
I was waiting for Chad to turn up. Yeah.
Chad GPT.
And then Dave GPT as well there.
Yeah, it's just about to release Search GPT, which is, an enhanced web search version of what ChatGPT is already. So ChatGPT has been connected to live internet, and you can search on it. So the questions are being asked now. I think that when these AI LLMs came out, lots of people, myself included, started using them for more general searches. If you are doing informational queries, so plan a trip for me, or it might have been, what's a recipe for, or why is the sky blue, what's this plant, what's that car, blah blah blah. Give me tech stories because I'm going on a tech podcast in a week's time, kind of thing. So informational queries now seem to be consumed a lot more by the LLMs that are out there, like ChatGPT, etc. There are other more sophisticated sort of search ones out there. So Perplexity is one that I've been playing around with.
I used that with, last week,
which is nice. And
I thought that was really good.
It's nice. I don't know about your experience, but what I liked about it is the fact that it will give you and cite its sources a lot more.
It does, yeah.
Which I really liked.
Yeah.
And I think that like the Search GPT, it's early days, but that's going to be sort of going in that general direction. So what's quite interesting at the moment is there's quite a bit out there about Google still kind of like, and your typical search engines have their place, like if you want to buy stuff online, if you're looking for shoes, if you're looking for a flight, at the moment the LLMs are not quite capable of doing that. But for everything that's informational, it does seem to be taking over as a main search for lots of people.
Wow.
Yeah, I quite liked Google's Gemini as well. When for getting statistics or whatever information, then you can get it to export into a spreadsheet and so on. It just makes things so much quicker.
But I also like the thing you mentioned about it giving you the sources for fact finding as well. So it makes that part a lot easier as well.
Yeah, and I think that
when you're doing research on a subject or something.
And I think that people out there that are sort of in marketing or SEO and stuff like that, they are really going to have to start to think about two different experiences for their web pages, because I think that they're going to have to start optimizing them for like the LLM as well as Google search and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite interesting to see whether Google searches, as we talk about today, will actually be we've all grown up. I'll Google it. Oh, I'll Google it. Oh, I'll Google it.
Now it's going to be chat it.
Now my child's generation is they're just like, I'll search it up.
Yeah.
So they're using different language. I'll search it instead. Because that's like a non-specific. Because they're going to use perhaps 2 or 3 different tools to try and find the answer.
That's a good. That's
and not
literally
immediately think of
I was
Google.
literally just thinking that, like you have compare the market, mate. All right, someone's going to make millions off this. But
idea.
say you're doing a search and you have like a place where you can do that search, but then it uses different search engines and it brings the results all back. It says, right, so this search engine says this search engine says this, and this one says this.
Why have you said this on there? You could have said this to me off air.
And then it summarizes it all and it goes, here you go. This is what all of them think.
No, it'd be better. I was just thinking while you were saying that, it would be better if you send a query and that system decides which is the best model to use or which system to use, and it brings back the result to you.
Yeah, but think if you could have launched it with that, right?
Yeah.
Then the 2.0 on that,
Yeah.
I could have been sat in the Bahamas right now.
Someone's probably already done it.
Well, now shares another great.
Or another one, mate. Yeah. You do a search, okay, via this whatever specific search place, okay, and what they'll do is they'll use these other search engines, but then they'll also do in the background do the fact finding on them as well, and then tell you which one's coming out of the crap. Because a lot of AI at the moment, there's a lot of this going on at the moment where it will just make stuff up as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was just going to say that the problem is that making the stuff up sounds so convincing, and you can easily buy it. Whereas when you get a search result, you'll do a little bit more research. Oh, that's Wikipedia. Maybe that's not the right place. You'll probably do a couple more, look for a couple other websites or whatever and just compare. Whereas when you're relying on these type of conversational AI or whatever, you could end up taking it as fact.
Yeah.
And it sounds very convincing and authoritative.
It's very convincing,
Yeah, you do have to be careful.
You do. Fessel, I've only got 2 minutes for you. Give me a story.
2 minutes?
Yes.
All right, okay. The one that I will share then is this Japanese company developed this system, Mr. Smile. It's basically like a VR type system, but what it does is as you're walking into a shop, it will actually see your reactions or how you are feeling when you see products or services. and then you can imagine what they will do with that data then.
Wow.
Well, work out if you're going to rob the place or something.
Possibly.
Yeah, or is he going to buy something or not? Or is he...
Arrest you before you nick something.
Yeah, isn't that, what's that movie from?
That's what I was thinking.
What movie was that? Minority Report, wasn't
Something
it?
like that, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think really the main thing, this is for staff. So let's say, for example, you walk out to a checkout or something, and the staff member's miserable or whatever, they could enhance their training maybe or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood that. I thought you meant looking at the customers doing it. No, this is the staff.
Yeah,
Or
they
everybody.
specifically staff.
Well, how do you feel about this, Joe?
Could potentially be used for all sorts of things, couldn't it?
I think Mr. Smile's just the most Japanese thing.
Wow.
The most Japanese name for something like that.
Yeah,
This
but
is
some
too
people-
Joltan.
But to be honest, some people sometimes you don't want to see someone all beaming and smiling at you for no reason, do you? Some people are like that. They're miserable. They want to see miserable people.
When I smile, people do get suspicious. So
And
They say, "Why are you so happy?"
Wow.
I can't win.
I can't wait to go into your
What you
shops
been
now.
up to? Yeah.
Yeah. What are you so happy, son?
Yeah, this isn't pie in the sky. They have actually trialled this out on a number of 8 stores with 3,500 staff members, and they found that service attitude improved by up to 1.6 times.
Do you think it's because they're
Well,
literally
it would
being
be 'cause
monitored?
you're recorded.
Yeah. They're like, your bonus is going to get affected if you're not smiling, and so on. We're literally watching you.
If they don't smile, does a little tickle stick come out and go
Yeah.
to get them to smile every time they spot they're not smiling?
Decent. Okay,
That is
so
cool, though. That is really cool.
I don't know if I'd want to work for a company that did that, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. But listen, thank you very much, guys. Winner is going to be you with that dementia story. I think for me, that's the best story of the week so far. I know everything's happened, CrowdStrike and so on, and the North Korean penetration and so on. But I think, really, generally, we see so many issues taking place in society, and dementia is one of the saddest diseases in the world. So I think you win today. So well done for that. You've been listening to The Tech Factor. Make sure to join us again in 2 weeks' time. We hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend. And do stay up to date with the tech stories. We'd love to hear from you next time. Take care.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.